Next, let's talk about the Kenra portfolio. So one of the things I love about the Kenra portfolio is it provides you with all the tools needed to achieve consistent, reliable results. And you can be as creative or as technical as you would like. So you can take one shade and apply it to your client's hair and get great coverage and true to tone results, or you can take and mix numerous shades together and get more of a customized formulation. So I would like to talk a little bit about the shades and tones. So with Kenra Color, we use an alphanumeric system. So we go from a level 1, which is black, to a level 10, which is extra light blonde. We do not use a 2 because anything below a 3 is indistinguishable between the differences with the human eye. So with the alphanumeric system, what it means is we use, like for instance, this is our 5GB. So the 5 is the level, which is going to be your medium brown, and then the G and B stand for the G. The first letter is your primary tone, and then the second letter is your secondary reflection. So this is going to be a level 5 gold brown. And also note that the containers are silver for the color, and the developer is also silver for our permanent line. So it's very easy to see the difference between the permanent and the dim-eye because the dim-eye is in black containers and the developer is in a black container. So we know with the good thing about Kenra Color is that everything is going to be true to tone. So as long as the porosity is the same, then you're going to have the same results every single time. And to help out with the porosity, because we know if your hair is a little bit porous, it's going to absorb the color and it may look more drab. So Kenra Color also has a porosity equalizer, which is an aloe-based formula that you would just take, spray onto the hair, and it makes more of an even canvas. So you will get that same result every single time, and you can help out with the hair because you know that the porous hair is hard to color. So next, let's talk about the Kenra Color Swatch Book. I love the Kenra Color Swatch Book. It makes it so much easier to use on the floor of the salon as well as in the dispensary because it has everything that you need in here. So it's a lot easier to talk when you have your client says, I want a particular color, but they may not, like with auburn and chestnut, is really hard and it's very subjective. So the good thing about this is that you can just discuss with your client directly, and then you can also take it back into the dispensary and help with your formulations off of it. So let's talk a little bit about each shade within the color line. So first we have the Natural Series. And you'll notice the Natural Series is not neutral, it's natural, and it's a little bit warmer than what you may be used to. So the Natural Series goes from 1 to a level 10. And like I said, there's no 2, so it's just 1 through 10. And this is going to be one of your go-tos for gray coverage. So you get 100% gray coverage with the natural line, but this one's going to be a little bit warmer. So you can also use it for your gray coverage, but you don't only have to use it for gray coverage because you get amazing results with the Natural Series, even if you don't need to use the gray coverage. So like I said, this one's going to be a little bit warmer. So if your clients are looking for a little bit cooler colors, we do have the Natural Ash, which is level 5 through 8. So it's going to be your Natural Series, it's just going to be a little bit cooler. So if your client wants gray coverage but doesn't necessarily want too much gold, then this is going to be perfect. And speaking of gold, with all of our colors are also calibrated. So you know what the natural remaining pigment is, the natural remaining pigment left after your hair has been lifted for more than 2 shades. So our colors are already calibrated, but sometimes you may want that extra tonal value. Like just because it's calibrated, your client may want their hair a little bit cooler. So with that, you would have the Natural Ash. So there's going to be a small amount of ash in it, which is already calibrated to whatever level you're lifting to. And also we have the Natural Beige and the Natural Brown, which is one of our newer additions. So the reason it's Natural Brown or Natural Beige is it depends on the level. So anything 7 and up is going to be considered, the B is going to be considered the B is going to be considered beige, and anything 6 and below the B is considered brown. So these are going to be also your gray coverage if you want a little bit warmer. So next we have the ash. So the ash is going to be your cooler series. So if you need to cancel out some more of that unwanted natural pigments of the unwanted warmth, then you can use this. So you're also going to notice that you can see on here that there's going to be a D or a P under each letter. So that distinguishes that each one of those is available in either demi or permanent or both. So next we have our ash. So you're going to get the same coverage as the ash, but you're going to get more of the cooler tones into it, so you get the double of the ash. That's what the ash stands for. So next we have some of our new additions, which is the silver metallic. So we have our silver metallic, which is a violet base, and it's a 10, an 8, and a 7. So we also have our violet metallic, which is going to be more of a violet rose base. And our newest addition to the metallic family is going to be the bronze metallic, which is going to be perfect for your summer balayage highlights. So next we have our brown, and this is what I was talking about with our natural. This is just going to have more of that warmth. But it's still going to be on the cooler side of the warmth, not quite gold, but it's going to be that beautiful sandy beige or the chocolate brown. So like I said, from 7 up, the B stands for beige, and from 6 to 4, it stands for brown. So the darker ones are definitely going to be more of your rich chocolate colors, and then the higher ones are going to be your, more of your sandy colored beige. And these are also perfect to use in highlights as well, and some of the lowlights also. Next is going to be our brown copper series. So the brown is going to have your brown as your predominant tone, but it's going to have the intense secondary reflection of the copper. And here's our gold series. So I love our gold series, and everybody makes a comment that it is very rich, but it's not yellow, because they are calibrated, so you get just the right amount of gold. It's a beautiful color. I love them. Now our GB. So we have a few of our GB, which is like what I showed you on the other one, is our gold beige or gold brown series. So like I said, 5 is going to be more of your coffee colored, and then the 8 is going to be more of like, it's not quite cool, it's not quite gold, it's a beautiful mix of both. It's going to be slightly warmer than the B series, and it's going to be perfect for low lights. So sometimes you just want to add that little extra dimension into your blondes, because your blondes may get a little bit too blonde. It's beautiful, especially the 8 and 9 GB, just to add a little bit definition without it being overpowering. It is a beautiful color. So now comes our intense copper. I'm so excited about the intense copper. So we have a 5, a 6, and an 8 in our copper. I love the 5 copper. It is very intense. I just did one the other day, and the thing about this is a lot of times what I love showing people about this is people tend to get, when they think red hair, they think actual red, like stop sign red. But if somebody's looking for that natural red hair, to me it's going to be the copper level 5. I just did this the other day on a lady that said she wanted natural red, and when I showed her the color, this is what she said is natural red, which is actually our copper, but it's a very rich, intense copper. And then we've got our CG, which our CG is our copper gold. So it's going to be more of your strawberry blonde. So it's going to have that lighter appearance to it, not quite as intense as our copper, but not also as dark as our copper beige or copper brown. So now we have our reds. So these are our reds. So we also have the red series and red. So you can see with the 7R, and then the 7RR is a notably more red pigment into it. And also our reds are not direct, they are indirect. So you've got the longevity. I have no problems with the reds holding. The reds always last, and they're so vibrant, and it stays that way time after time after time. So next is going to be our red brown. So our red brown is more of our auburn. So it's also going to be like, I don't know if you've ever had people talk about like more of the Dr. Pepper color or like some of those richer colors. This is going to be the line for the red brown. And then we have the RC, which is the red copper. So it's going to be the red pigment with that beautiful copper undertone to it. And I love showing people these when they say that they want red or copper. People don't think necessarily, they just think two-dimensional, like it's either red or copper. But there's so many different variations, and they are stunning, beautiful results. I've used every single one of these, and I love every one of them. But this is going to be more of your intense, more fiery reds. So then we have our violet red. So the violet red is going to be more of like that amethyst color. So it's going to have that intense, that cool violet, but the intense red secondary reflection into it. And then also our red violet. So it's going to have the red with the secondary reflection of violet. So that was for our permanent. So we also have some different products in our demi only line. So we have in our demi line, we have our 10V and which is our violet. So this is going to be an ultra pale violet undertone. So this is only going to be used just to cancel out some of that yellow and more of like your platinum clients that want that nice crisp, cool color. This is going to be it. If you do some highlights and you have just a little tiny bit of color left in there of the yellow, this is perfect just to tone that out. And our 9PV, which is going to be our pearl violet, is more of a blue violet base. So if you have a little bit more of that, say, slightly yellow orange color, this is going to be a little bit stronger to pull some of that out. So we also have our rapid toners, which I absolutely love our rapid toners. So these are in 5 minutes or less. I mean, if you're at the bowl and you pull out some of your foils, or you just want to add a little bit more vibrancy to refreshen some of the color, these literally work in 5 minutes or less, and they are absolutely amazing. One of my favorite is the silver violet, because you always have that client that always sees a little bit of warmth in their highlights. So within less than 5 minutes, you put this on. It has to be on wet hair. So once you shampoo the hair and you get the color off of there and the lightener off of it, then you would just take and apply this directly onto the wet hair, 5 minutes or less, and wash it off. Beautiful, amazing results. So we have our copper gold, our copper red, the violet pearl, and silver violet. And we also have some boosters. So we have the blue, violet, gold, copper, and red. These are to add a little bit more into your other colors. So if you want something with a little bit more copper, then you just add some more copper or the gold. I love the gold. The gold adds a lot more reflection into some of the colors, so it's easy to customize all the colors because you can mix them together, or you can just go ahead and take some of these boosters and just do that. You boost. A lot of times I like to boost with like the 3VR. I have a client that loves the 3 violet red, and I always just had a little bit more violet in there because she likes to see a lot of that violet undertones to it, so it's more of a deep amethyst color. With it being a 3, it's easier just to throw that extra color into there. So next we also have our creative line. I love our creative line. We have 9 shades in our creative line, and these are direct. They're direct colors, so you just apply them directly onto color to pre-lightened hair. You do not mix these with developer. They last at least 20 shampoos. They hold their vibrancy. They are intermixable. And in the swatch book, there's a little chart that kind of gives you a little bit of extra ideas to mix up some of the colors. And our creative neon. These are amazing. They are black light activated. Who doesn't like black light activated colors? They're super vibrant. These do work the best on very pre-lightened hair, so it's easy to get that to about your level 10 to like the inside of a banana, and then apply these. So with these being so bright, you want that really crisp lack of color, so you really want it to be on super lightened hair. That way you get the vibrancy and there's charcoal, which is super exciting. So this is our swatch book. I absolutely love it, and I really think you're going to love it, and it's just the best tool. And whatever color you use, it is very true to swatch. So as long as you make sure that you apply your your porosity equalizer and make sure that the hair is not overly porous, you're going to get the same exact results every single time. And I've been using it for years. I've never had a problem with gray coverage, and I've never had a problem with it coming out different. Every single time, it is exactly the same. So it is an amazing, amazing system. Okay, so mixing ratios. So with the Kenner Color Permanent, it is going to be 1 to 1. So you're going to have equal parts of developer and color. So just regular is going to be 30 minutes, and if you need for gray coverage, it's going to be 40 minutes. So we have 4 developers. So we have a 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume. Our 10 volume is going to be for deposit only. You're going to get no lift out of a 10 volume. It's going to be a little bit different from what you're used to, but like I said, just deposit. A 20 volume, you're going to get 1 level of lift, and this is going to be your go-to developer for gray coverage. So you also get the gray coverage on your 30 volume if you need to lift 2 to 3 levels. And also with your 40 volume, you get 3 to 4 levels of lift. So you notice that it says 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. Does anybody know why that is? Well, it's the porosity and the density of the hair. So with a 30 volume, if somebody has more coarse hair, then they're only going to get 2 levels of lift. But for finer hair, you will get that 3 levels of lift because it's going to be a lot easier to lift the color out of hair that's not as coarse. So the same thing is with your 40 volume. So you're going to have the 3 levels of lift on coarse hair and 4 levels of lift on your finer hair clients. But for your gray coverage, it's going to work the same on the level 3, for 30 volume or 40 volume. But if you're doing just depositing for your gray color, your gray coverage, or for a tonal shift, you're going to do your 20 volume. So next, let's talk about the formulation for your gray coverage. So this is the 5 easy steps on formulation. So you have your natural level, desired level, the volume used, percentage of gray, and the underlying pigment. So let's do like a little example. So also, sorry, before we do the example, so when you're doing your formulation for gray coverage, say you look at your percentage of gray. So if you're 25% or less of the gray coverage, of gray hair, I'm sorry, you're going to use 25% of your formulation has to be either the N, the natural ash, or the natural beige. You need that natural series in at least 25% of your formulation of up to 25% of gray. And then the percentage of your desired level of formulation is going to be the 75% of the rest. So for your client that's 25% to 50% gray, 50% of your formulation is going to be your natural series, and the other 50% is going to be your desired level and tone. So for your clients that are 50 to 100% gray, 75% of your formula has to be the natural series, and then 25% is your desired level. So now let's have an example. Okay, so let's say we have our natural level is a 4. And our desired level is going to be a 7B. So with this, we're going to have to figure out our volume. So we're going 4 shades or 4 levels. So we're going to have to use a 30 volume. So on our percentage of gray we'll just say is going to be 50%. And so also the underlining pigment. So we know for the underlining pigment on a level 7 is what? Is gold. So gold is going to be our underlining pigment. So when we're formulating on this, we have to consider on that chart. So we know half of our formulation, because it's going to be 50%, is going to be in our natural series. So to go from a level 4 to a level 7B, what are we going to use as our natural series? So I would use, and there's different ways to get to this, but as long as we have our half of this. So I would do 1 ounce of 7Na, because our underlining pigment is going to be gold, and since we're going to a B and not the BG, then I would like to cancel out, to neutralize some of that gold. So we're going to use half of it, so we'll use 1 ounce of 7Na and 1 ounce of 7B, and we'll go with 30 volume, and we're going to process that for 40 minutes. So half of our formula is going to be our end series and half of it is going to be our desired, and then we're going to use 30 volume on 40 minutes on processing. Okay, so now our 5 easy steps to color formulation. So first step is going to be find your natural level. So you're going to take your natural series card out and you're going to look at the crown of somebody's head, because around the face tends to be a little bit lighter, so you get the true natural level at the back on the crown of somebody's head. So now we are going to do the desired level. So that's going to be the desired color that someone wants to be. So next, the levels of lift, or the deposit for the developer. So you have to formulate how much you're going to be lifting and how much you need to actually deposit. The percentage of gray, because that does formulate a lot into your equation, and then the underlining pigment. So let's do a couple more formulations. Move to this side, might be a little bit easier. So we're going to go on our natural level, our desired level, and then we're going to do our volume, our percentage of gray, and then the underlining pigment. So let's say that you have a client that is a natural level 5, and they want to be a 6 BC, which is one of my favorite colors, and they have zero percentage of gray. So the natural remaining pigment under the level 6 is going to be a gold orange. So when we're figuring this up, we automatically know that we're only going up 1 shade, but we are doing a tone change. So I would say a 20 volume is what would need to be used. And since we have our gold orange undertone, it's going to actually kind of help a little bit within our system. So we would just go ahead and do 2 ounces of 6 BC, and we would do 2 ounces of 20 volume. That would process for 30 minutes. So it's easy enough once you get your 5 steps down. It's very easy to formulate. So we'll do one more. All right, so next we'll say our natural level is going to be 6, and our desired level is going to be 9 GB. So our percentage of gray, we'll go ahead and say 0 again. And our underlining pigment for that is going to be a yellow gold. So with this formulation, what do you think our volume would be? We'll use a 30 volume because we'll say that she has not coarse hair, so we'll just go with 30 volume. So we're going to go up 3 levels, and natural and yellow gold is going to be our underlining pigment. So how do you think our formulation should be based on this? I would use 2 ounces of 9B because yellow gold is already going to be our underlining pigment. So if we use 9B, then we already have the gold, so we don't have to add the gold back into it because yellow and gold together are going to be a little bit stronger for the G for the secondary. And then we'll do 2 ounces to 30 volume. And this is going to process for 30 minutes.